Hello and welcome back to another video of Formula 1 Challenge 1996. Today is race 7 of the season, the Spanish Grand Prix. If you haven't seen the previous video, go and check it out. Monaco Grand Prix has been pretty much the same race as it was last year. The only difference being this time we didn't retire because it would have been boring, but we crashed out. And the only finishers were, I think... who won that? Oh yeah, Herbert and Rosset were the only finishers. So this time a 2-car finish instead of 1 compared to last year. So I guess that's an improvement, maybe. Anyways, the waypoint bug was still there, turning the whole race into a massive carnage and chaos all over the track. So we just came over to Spain hoping for a better result. Well, it's not really difficult to get a better result than a DNF. And last year we actually had a pretty good race here. And I think we could have gone for the race win if not for the last minute pit stop for the wet tires. Despite the track wasn't that wet and on the slicks I think I could have been faster. However, it is what it is. It happened. We still ended up on the podium. So hopefully we can at least repeat that performance or maybe get even better and maybe go for the race win this time for real. Fighting it out with well, it's probably going to be the Williams. I mean, who am I kidding? They are far, far superior to everyone else on the grid. And yeah... and we only have to fight them, and occasionally McLaren, who seems to be pretty good as well recently in the last couple of races. They won in San Marino. They've been doing quite well in Monaco until they crashed out. So let's just head over and have a look at the newspaper, what happened throughout the week. And as you can see here, Mika Salo had a word with FIA after the 8-car carnage he caused at the start, and he's been banned for 1 race, which means that Tira's reserve driver Emmanuel Collard will take his place. And there's another article about Herbert winning the race, and he's been really happy with the result, getting back to the good positions and finishing on the top of the podium, which is more like the Herbert we've seen last year in the Benetton. So that's pretty good from him. And of course, Rosset was very happy with his performance as well. He got his first ever podium. So GG's to him as well. So this is pretty much it. That's all that happened throughout the week. And so now we just head over to the qualifying session, try to get in a good lap, and then just see where we end up on the grid. Let's go! And here we are with the qualifying session, starting our first hot lap. And this time I didn't fool around a lot with the settings because getting to this race again was a mess. Just like it was with Nürburgring. I had to re-record it again because I forgot to add Collard instead of Salo. So what you're seeing here is the actual second footage of the whole weekend. And well, I could have had a podium there, but I just wanted to stick to the original event, so I had to replace Salo with Collard, and well, we'll see how he's going to do instead of his teammate. And this time we seem to have a good weekend here in terms of weather, so no rain expected so far, which is pretty good. So probably not gonna do the same pit tactics fail as we did last year. And this Verstappen in the provisional pole with 127, which is a fairly good result. Well, actually it's not. I mean, it's an errors. So let's see. Oof. And we actually managed to underdo Verstappen's time. And later on, after a couple of similar laps, and then I ended up playing around with the settings to see if I can get anything better. So I changed a bit of the weight distribution, and that ended up giving the car a better grip on the corners, especially on the faster ones. Though that doesn't mean that I'm still good at this track. It means that I still suck at this track, actually. At least in sector 3. That's horrid, really. And in the first sector we're actually 4/10 slower than in our previous best lap, which you've just seen before. So maybe it didn't really work out too well with the settings. However, in sector 2 we're almost a second faster. So yeah, as you probably guessed, my favorite on this track is sector 2, and this is where hopefully we'll be able to overtake most of the cars, where we can be faster than pretty much everyone else. And hopefully no one's going to pull away too far in sectors 1 and 3. So let's do the grid walk. Villeneuve starts from P1. And alongside him, his teammate Damon Hill. Michael Schumacher again gets a good qualifying with the Ferrari. Qualifies for P3, followed by Alesi on P4. Häkkinen in P5. Coulthard in P6. See, the McLarens are doing well for themselves. Berger in P7. Irvine in P8. I think this might be his best qualifying session so far. And our teammate Panis on P9, so he actually out-qualified us again. Brundle in P10. And here we are in P11. Could have been a lot better, to be honest, but it is what it is, so we'll have some work to do to go for points and to try and get in a good result. Verstappen in P12, Frentzen in P13, Rosset in P14. The arrows must have grown wings. Barrichello in P15. And here's the newbie Emmanuel Collard on P16. Herbert on P17. Katayama on P18. So Collard out-qualified him as well. Fisichella on P19. Lamy on P20. And as usual, Badoer and Montermini in the 40s close the grid on P21 and 22. And here we are waiting for the lights. Don't mind the car that's moving, I don't know why it does that. Oh, thankfully it's not too bad, so we don't get a penalty for jumping the start. And here we go. We go past our teammate Berger and go after the McLarens. And in the first corner we actually overtake both McLarens and Schumacher, so we're up to P4. And in front of us is Alesi in the Benetton and the two Williams cars. Let's see if we can chase them down going towards sector 2. Here we go for an optimistic move on Alesi, which actually works out. He doesn't really fight back. So we're up to P3, we're on the podium after the first couple of corners, and we're pretty close to the two Williams cars as well. Villeneuve is right in front of us, and it's Damon Hill leading the pack. However, in the straight they are able to pull away. They are a lot faster than the Ligier. So hopefully we can catch up with them here as well, though sector 3 is not my favorite. As you can see, going a bit wide. And at the end of the first lap, well, we're still on P3, closely followed by Alesi, and the two Williams already pulled away by more than a second. And they seem to be fighting each other quite heavily. Villeneuve is constantly looking on Hill's side, and I think at some point he may even go for an overtake. So the plan is that hopefully they're gonna slow each other down enough that we can catch up with them while they are busy fighting each other. And you could see before there's been some massive lag. There is always some massive lag on this track. I'm not entirely sure why I don't have this on the other ones, at least not this bad. So it can make the race actually quite difficult, especially when it comes in on the braking distance, the braking zone. And even though you time your braking right, yeah, as see, yeah, this is what happens. Even though you time your braking right, you'll go wide or off the track completely, so it's not very helpful. And yeah, there's still been a bit of fighting between the two Williams cars, but no overtake has been done. And this was basically most of the race so far up until lap 11. And as you can see, the two Williams are already miles ahead. However, well, not the two Williams, because we're on P2 thanks to Villeneuve already having his pit stop. And Hill is already 11 seconds away. So yeah, they pulled away quite quickly, and I just had no chance to keep up with them. Big mistake here, and we get overtaken by Coulthard. And we take the position back in the next corner. Well, at least we try. However, he goes wide and retains the position. Now we both go wide, and this gives us the opportunity. He pushes us off the track, so we go half the car on the grass, and we get the job done, or maybe not. Yes, we do. Coulthard finally backs off, so we're still on P2, and this will be the lap where we come out for a fresh set of tires and some fuel. Ooh, the wall was close there. And it's Hill here already in the pits as well. This is probably the closest we can get to him on this race. Let's see where we can come back to. Berger overtakes us as we try to exit the pits. Actually almost collide with him, I didn't even see him in the mirror. And here we break our rules a bit by going over the line and overtake Berger. Well, definitely not the cleanest driving, but you're probably used to it by now. This time even I might have a word with FIA and get some sort of punishment after the race. We'll see about that. But we're on P4 at the moment, and by the end of lap 15 we actually caught up with Coulthard, who for some reason is pretty slow in comparison to his teammate Häkkinen, who is constantly within half a second behind. So we're actually a lot faster, and on the side for a moment you could see Hill's car. Damon Hill is out of the race, and this time the highlights and external footages will be at the end of the video, mostly because I decided not to have an external footage for the start of the race. In the meantime, we get re-overtaken by Coulthard, and then we just overtake him again, as he's still massively slow. So the camera at the finish line is actually closer to the first corner, so you can't see anything from the start, so that's why I decided not to have that footage, and so all the highlights and everything will go to the end of this video. And as you can see, we overtook Villeneuve, who didn't have a front wing, which might be an indicator of what happened. And I think the two Williams cars collided. And now we're a million times faster than Villeneuve, and he gets overtaken by Berger, Häkkinen, and pretty much everyone. He goes down to... It's going to still showing Schumacher. Yeah, so he's pretty far behind now with that forced pit stop he had to do, so he's on P8 now. And we're up, we inherited the lead, so we're leading the race now and have a more convincing lead to Häkkinen. And by the looks of it, we might even extend it a bit if we don't get stuck behind these three back markers. Now, back markers are always trouble. However, the Minardi is nice, thanks mate, he just lets us pass. And then the 240s, and they don't really fancy the idea of getting out of the way. One of them does, and the other one has actually tried to fight back. I'm not sure why they keep doing this, they're just causing trouble. And hopefully, yeah, so I had hoped that the McLarens get stuck behind them, but it wasn't really that the case. And the Coulthard, well, right now we have a convincing lead over Coulthard, but that wasn't because they got stuck behind the back markers. It's because for some reason Coulthard was just getting slower after the first pit stops. And at the end of lap 22, so at the end of this lap, we're going to come out for our final pit stop. We're going with 2 pit stops here. And yeah, let's see what happens after. And we hit the wall and spin out, and well, that's the rear wheel gone. Oh my god. What a stupid mistake. So this is it. The race is over. And we just got stuck in the pit lane after hitting that wall. I hope they're gonna get rid of that, because that's really dangerous. So first let's see what happened to our teammate Panis. Here you can see him overtaking one of the arrows and just spins out. Tries to rejoin the track and this. What the hell were you doing, mate? So let's see it from a different angle. So he overtook the arrows, who spun him out, loses a front wing, and then as he tries to rejoin, he just goes straight into the wall. I have no idea what happened there. And this is what happened to Hill. And this is why Villeneuve didn't have his front wing. He basically took out his teammate. Look at this. And he just slams right into the back of his teammate. I think he will have a word with FIA as well. And despite all that, he still finishes second behind David Coulthard, who actually wins the race. GG's to him. Häkkinen falls back to P6. Not good. Barrichello, Valesi, Schumacher and Häkkinen are the other drivers in the points. And we're still third in the driver standings, so that's not too bad. Coulthard is 5 points ahead. I think we can still bring that back and level the field. And we're still third in the Constructors' Championship despite not getting any points for 2 races. So this was the Spanish Grand Prix, and I'll see you in Canada. Goodbye.